to lay on the table of this House a copy of the following: the Queenstown Findings Report of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric
Not in this place, not in this time. The House suspends several times after a minister tries to speak.
A dissatisfaction with the contractor forces Bahamas to delay its Friday opening. I'm Clint Watson. The story's ahead in the Bahamas tonight.
In the court, ZNS News with the latest. The Bahamas Tonight, the national report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
The minister with responsibilities for local government has been relieved of those duties. Good evening, everyone. I'm Charisma Robinson.
And I'm Chris Saunders. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Perry Christie, has facilitated the request of the Honourable Minister V. Alfred Gray to have his responsibilities as Minister of Local Government, those specific responsibilities, stripped until an investigation involving Gray is concluded. And as Janae Noel Ferguson tells us tonight, the country's leader revealed in the House of Assembly this morning that following the allegations, Gray wrote his request in a letter which the Prime Minister obliged.
Minister Gray has invited me to relieve him of his ministerial responsibility for local government pending the outcome of the police investigation.
Those responsibilities will now fall under the Minister of Financial Services, Hope Strawn, with immediate effect. The announcement was applauded by the opposition, which called on Gray to resign amidst allegations that he intervened in a court ruling handed down by the Mi'kmaq administrator. Prime Minister Perry Christie said that Gray is taking a different course of action from those opposite.
This is a serious matter that's taken at the highest level, Mr. Speaker. The member for Michael is to be commended, Mr. Speaker, for his responsible approach to this matter. But this is to be favorably contrasted with cases under the former administration involving allegations of serious and major impropriety on the part of various ministers in separate and unconnected matters. In none of these cases did any of these F&M ministers stand down from all or any part of their ministerial positions pending the outcome of any investigations.
Now, the nation's leader tabled a letter authored by Gray to him dated the 25th of March, requesting the move, also calling for an independent investigation. In the letter to the Prime Minister, Gray added that he would be vindicated of the allegations. Now, this revelation by the Prime Minister followed a 15-minute suspension of the House. V. Alfred Gray had attempted to table documents, but members opposite interrupted him.
Member for Michael. Member, let us suspend the House for 15 minutes.
The House Speaker cautioned the opposition after the suspension of the House to govern themselves accordingly. When Mr. Christie announced that Gray's responsibilities would be reduced, opposition members shared their views on this move.
We will not sit by and allow Mr. Gray to still the member for Michael remain as minister.
Member, I think you should take your seat.
Well, again, we believe that he has no moral authority at this particular point to stand up as the Minister of Marine Resources and Local Government.
Meanwhile, Minister of State for Legal Affairs Damian Gomez gave an overview of how the investigation involving Gray will play out.
In the normal scheme of things, the police investigate allegations of criminal conduct. If they discover anything that they believe is worthy of note, they refer it to the Director of Public Prosecutions, who independently advises as to whether criminal proceedings should be commenced. And on his advice, the Attorney General acts to commence or not to commence proceedings.
Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
Tensions from this morning's proceedings of the House of Assembly spilled over to the evening, prompting Speaker the Honourable Dr. Kendall Major to suspend the House for a second time in one day.
Cleopatra Murphy has the details.
Pursuant
evening's proceedings at the House of Assembly came to an abrupt halt after members of the governing party caused a commotion and prevented opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis from making a communication regarding local government minister V. Alfred Gray's interference in a court matter. The group took a cue from opposition members who did the same thing this morning, refusing to allow Mr. Gray to table documents as they slammed their hands on the table. House Speaker Dr. Kendall Major got up and temporarily suspended the afternoon proceedings.
House suspense.
All right. The House resumed after 4:30 p.m., at which time Deputy Prime Minister Philip Davis noted that Minnis' statement was inappropriate, stating that Minnis was convicting Gray for a matter under investigation. Before the ordeal, though, the National Security Minister, the Honourable Dr. Bernard Nottage, noted that the governing party had the right to object.
I don't know what's in the statement, Mr. Speaker, and I have the right, we have the right, Mr. Speaker, to object if we wish.
He has used most insulting, offensive, and abusive language towards the member for Michael. He is also imputed improper motives and personal reflections on that member by suggesting that he may even have offended constitutional and other nefarious conduct.
Gray also defended himself.
I've chosen to remain silent on this matter because it is to be investigated, and I welcome the investigation. What I do not like, Mr. Speaker, is for any member of this House to speak to the public from this domain as factual, whatever the hearings are. I think that's wrong. It is prejudicial. If they continue to say allegations, I have no problems with that, Mr. Speaker.
Minister of State for Legal Affairs Damian Gomez stood on a point of order, also cautioning that the matter was before police and the House should not prejudice the process.
The whole purpose of these rules is to protect not only members in here, but the general public. And I'm drawing it to your attention because we are crossing the line.
Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
The opening of Bahamas will no longer take place in 2 days as announced. An executive decision by the mega resort to delay the opening to guests comes as the company appears to have issues with the pace and quality of the construction. Our Clint Watson was at the mega resort today and files this report.
If you pass the soon-to-open Bahamian Riviera today, you would still see construction crews, landscapers, and employees in full gear working to prepare the multi-billion-dollar resort, despite the announcement that it will not open on Friday as planned. This note is confirmed in a letter to the staff at Bahamas Resorts from the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, Sarkis Zerilian. The Chairman and CEO said that in setting the March 27 date, they stood on the good faith and representation of the resort's construction manager and lead contractor. However, last Friday, based on repeated assurances, Bahamas announced that it would launch a paced opening beginning Friday, culminating in a grand opening in May. However, further inspections proved otherwise. Senior Vice President of Bahamas, Robert Sands, reiterated the concern expressed by the chairman in a statement.
Subsequently, it has become clear that our contractor has not completed the work with an attention to detail consistent with Bahamas standards of excellence. Anything less than a world-class facility and best-in-class guest experience is not acceptable to Bahamas. As a result, Bahamas will not begin its paced opening on March 27th. Bahamas expects to celebrate its grand opening the first week of May 2015 as planned.
The chairman in that letter, which was posted throughout Bahamas, reaffirmed a commitment to the Bahamian people and customers worldwide that they are creating an experience second to none. The CEO says despite the contractor's performance, they are more than ever committed to that promise and therefore must face the short-term pain of this delay in exchange for the long-term satisfaction that they will deliver on their commitment. He encouraged employees to stay the course and remain positive. Now, ZNS News has also learned that those guests who had confirmed bookings for Friday through to May have been notified on the delay in the opening.
And most of the employees we spoke to today said while they are somewhat disappointed and were looking forward to Friday's opening, they're grateful that they have a few more weeks to get the added touch onto that service to ensure that they give the customer the wow experience come day one. Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
This portion of the news is brought to you by the new Shell and Letty, designed for extra miles.